This video will describe the search grammar dialog, and it's here. The search grammar dialog is helpful. Sometimes you've written a rule, and a month or two or half a year later, you remember that rule, but you can't find it. So you can search the grammar. There are many different ways to search the grammar. I think there are 13 different ways. Let's go through these one by one. First, search for grammar topics. Here you can select a topic. These are all the grammar topics that you've defined. If you want to define additional topics, you can do that. Let's close this. If you want to define additional topics, open up any grammar rule, even a new one, and here are the topics always down at the bottom. And here you can add a new grammar topic. So that's how you can add new topics. To search for grammar topics, you just select one that you've defined. For example, let's select relative clauses. So now it finds all the grammar rules that have a topic down here of relative clauses. A rule can have more than one relative clause. And by the way, each rule can have as many topics, grammar topics, as you'd like, just by clicking here and selecting more. And this is helpful if you're going to export your grammar. In a subsequent video, we'll talk about exporting our grammar to a file, to a Word document. And it's good, if you're going to export your grammar, to have every rule assigned to at least one grammar topic. For source concepts, you can choose any concept. We'll choose nouns, and let's go to action right there. So now we'll search all of the rules that have this particular concept in them. Okay, there's only one. Okay, there it is. If we do an action, we change it to do a thing. To do things in English. This is the English grammar. If you want to search for target words, for example, let's search for the verb to be. So here are the rules that deal with the verb to be. There are several. For this one, it's in the structure. For searching for semantic features, you can choose a syntactic category. We'll choose verbs. Then you can choose the features that are in the semantic representations, and also your defined features as well as copied features, features that are copied by a feature copying rule. For example, let's say third person subject. Search. So here's a rule that we talked about in a previous video. When the subject is one of us or one of them, we want the verb to be third singular, not third plural or first plural. Searching for phonetic features. This is the English project. I only have type, consonant, and vowels defined, semi-vowels. We'll search for rules that have a phonetic feature of vowel. Only word morphophonemic rules use phonetic features. Searching for user-defined word labels. For example, let's search for relativizer. So here are the rules that include a relativizer. User-defined morpheme labels. Here, many of your user-defined morpheme labels will come from your phrase builder rules. And so in our phrase builder rules, we have those columns, which we've called pre-nominal, pre-verbal, etc. We'll choose one. There's only one. It's a phrase builder rule. and here's preverbal. These are considered user-defined morpheme labels. For morphemes, we'll search for the word the. There's some the, etc. Here's the word the. You can search the rules names and comments. If you remember the comment that you made, or even just one word from the comment or one word from the name, you can search for that. We won't do that now. Same nominal, different nominal. Here there's nothing to choose, and it will find all the rules that use the same nominal. This is where we set the indices. So here's a noun action set to index I, noun action set to index I. So this will find all of the rules that use the nominal indices. Rules without references. This refers to the rules that don't have references. Before I do that, I want to come over here. In order to get references into your rules, you need to come here and select Record References and Rules. And then you generate all of your text. When you check that box, this button becomes red because this significantly slows down the translation process. Because every time a rule applies, it will record that reference in that rule, up to the first approximately 25 references. So make sure after you've done that, you want to clear that. And now it's not red anymore. So if we go back to Rules Without References, there will be many. This tells you after you've checked that box and you've generated all of your text, then when you come here, if there are rules that don't have any references, that means those rules were never used. Now one more comment here. In some of these, each structure, this rule has two structures. Each structure has its own references. When it says a rule without any references, that means the entire rule doesn't have any references. So there may be structures within a rule that don't have references. Those rules won't show up in this particular search. So rules without references, that means those rules were never used. Rules that select lexical forms. Only the spell-out rules select lexical forms. We won't do that now. Rules without grammar topics. We've talked about how you can assign one or more grammar topics to each rule. This is useful if you plan to export your grammar to a file. It's good to make sure that every rule that's used, every rule should have at least one grammar topic. So this will show you the rules that don't have any grammar topics. And I don't plan to export the English grammar to a document, so I haven't been putting grammar topics into my rules. So there are hundreds of these, hundreds of rules that don't have grammar topics. Most of my rules don't have grammar topics because I don't plan to export this grammar. So that's how you can search for your grammar. One more option. If you've been editing your rules and you can't remember which rule you edited for a particular task, there's another button called Edited Rules List. And this dialog keeps track of the 100 most recently edited rules. So each time you edit a rule, it comes here and it's at the top. There's a date and timestamp. And then one rule is deleted off the bottom. There's only 100. And this keeps track. And if you want, you can force yourself to put comments here. I don't put in comments because it takes time. If you come here to the Setup dialog and the Views, after editing rule, prompt for comments. If you check that, then every time you close a rule, it will ask you to enter a comment. And then that comment, I'm going to uncheck that, then that comment will be right here in this dialog. Another option is you can say, go to Setup, and in your Grammar tab, when closing your grammar rule, prompt for grammar topics. This will check when you save a rule, and if it doesn't have any grammar topics, if you check this box, then it will stop and ask you to enter a grammar topic. So if you're very disciplined and you plan to export your grammar to a document, then it's a good idea to check this box.